And spawning at the top here, the red Zerg, the on paper favorite player here. He is Hordeon.
And in the bottom right, we have Daveathor, ready to play the game as efficiently as possible, possibly as good as the last game, where he won in the first 2 seconds. An excellent cheese play from him, to be honest.
Yeah. Have to agree on that.
What is the state of the series at the moment, do you know?
Well, the starboard is apparently lying, but I think it should be 0-0 or not.
Because this matchup should start on Ohana between them. I'm just curious because of their...
Yeah, it should be 0-0. If it's starting on Ohana, then it should be 0-0. Otherwise, we would be seeing a different map, right? Please, guys, do not mistake Hordeon with Hardon.
That was my mistake last time I cast him. Don't remind people. It was terrible.
It was funny. It was funny. Hordeon getting a hard on as he sees how he's pushing forward inside Daveathor's base. Those were generally the comments or the themes that cast revolved around.
I was being very mature that day, to be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Daveathor's actually going for a Nexus first, despite seeing the pool going down at a 14 pool time. It's usually rather safe on this map because you can still do the 3-building wall off. Although I don't think his pylon is placed correctly for the 3-building wall off.
I think it is. I think it's covering all the front of the ramp. I just don't know if there's enough space between the pylon and the forge. Looks like it. Looks like there is just enough room. Daveathor being annoying. This is what you always want to do as a Protoss. Delaying that. Being annoying with your probe. You just delay that hatchery by a small.
It's not hard to be annoying with Protoss.
Well. Depends.
Click.
Not going to comment on that. So, these Zerglings, of course, knowing exactly where the probe is, and that is not due to Hordeon using map hacks. That is just because most Protoss, when they fail to deny the natural, immediately go to the third base with their probe. And Hordeon is going to take their third base.
So this is going to go into a very macro style for now, and Daveathor only taking 1 gas, implying he's going for a more macro favor play, possibly his early 3 base, like he usually claims, but he's putting down a second cannon due to not knowing if his opponent has taken even a natural or a third base. He's completely in the dark at the moment. So he's playing safe rather than sorry.
Yeah, I can't blame Dave for doing this play, right? But what the double cannon coverage actually, you can... It doesn't change your build, whatever you're going for, in the slightest when you do double cannon coverage, as long as you went for a Nexus first, because the difference between going Forge first and Nexus first is that you are going to have roughly 100 to 200 minerals more depending on your kernel boost spending in the early stages of the game. So it's not only safe, but look, he's already breaking down the rocks with that cannon, so most probably will be taking that very fast third.
Absolutely, Daveathor style being that very, very rushing up into the macro. And he's just going to probably idle back a little bit and not build many units, just the 1 Zealot 4 now. And the Overlords are in position to actually very quickly scout Daveathor, instantly sees the Nexus going down, and I wouldn't be surprised if these Lings from the Zonaga just move straight down and pressure the Nexus. And there they go.
There they go, he is going to do exactly that, and look at this, he's producing 10 more Zergling. He says, screw it, you are going to be greedy, I'm going to punish you, and it is going to hurt.
Hordeon losing 1 Zergling, and he's just nibbling away at the Protoss' Zealot now, forcing it to pull back, but one of the cannons is going to finish soon, and once that happens, Daveathor's in a secure place if he can keep kiting these Zerglings.
Well, there is the Stalker out right now, but with these many Zerglings reinforcing this harassment or pressure, That will not be enough. 3 more gateways going down, 4 more gateways going down, but so far Daveathor is still only on 1 gate. He has his entrance wide open, and the Zerglings are going in. Rox just now went down, so he can move his units in if he wants to, and this Nexus is under attack as well.
Perfect though. No Lings managed to get any amount of damage done. No probes have died. And Hordeon is in a very far behind position. He doesn't have the kind of drone count that he would usually have. He has a massive Lings, but as long as Daveathor can consistently keep his defense tight, he's going to be in a solid place against this. Even putting up another cannon, and his gateways are now finishing. His Cybercore tech is going to finish, and all he has to do is hold this position here.
Oh, he's even going to block that entrance with another pylon. That is very smart of him. He may have to cancel this gate though.
He's going to hold this.
He is going to hold this.
Very impressive.
And the robotics facility just now finished, so he's just having a very good Sim City. Now that the sentry warpins start happening, I think that this is effectively shut down right now. Speed just now finished for the Lings. All this time these Lings did not have speed. Let's look at the harvester count. We have 53 drones versus 44. Not what you usually see at this stage of the game, with the Protoss having a 3rd base. I mean, on maps like Entombed Valley, it's quite okay to do this. It's more defensible than on Ohana, but on Ohana I would never think this possible. Look how huge this wall is at Daveathor's 3rd base.
Daveathor has done one of the best defenses I've seen in a very long time. He's been discussing this build a lot with me, argued with me quite a bit about how it's possibly the best play ever. And we're going to have to see if he follows it up with that very heavy Zealot Archon style that he does enjoy.
Yeah, meanwhile we do have some upgrades rolling for Hordeon as well. He is getting the +1 curve base, he is getting the infestation pit and producing mass Lings, so he will be relying on infestors and Lings, very fast unit. Infestors on the other hand not as fast, but very, very mobile nonetheless, and quite useful. Their utility, the more energy that you have and the more infestors you have in your army, compounds geometrically. And we do have another base for Hordeon, and I think he will be looking to put down a 5th as well very, very, very quickly. He is scouting all over the map. Look at this for proxy pylons. And Daveathor, rightly so, true to his creed, I'm going to do my build no matter what, is putting down the 2nd Forge and a Twilight, so he is looking for double ups in a very quick fashion.
So 7 infestors on the way, and I've seen a lot of aggressive plays that do a lot of damage to Daveathor, where they just dump a lot of infested Terrans down on the other side of the wall, let them do a lot of damage whilst Lings, Roaches and other such units nibble away at the front. And it's just been very effective at countering the kind of style that Daveathor goes for, because he is very greedy at the moment. He's getting his tech, he's getting Archons, or he should be at some point if he's following his standard style.
He's getting a Stargate. So he is shooting for the mothership straight away, and once he puts down something to make Archons with, he will have a very scary army if he hits the Zerg before... I mean, if he goes for High Templars with Storm, he can have a very strong army and a mothership on the way as he's doing this to boot. Let's look at his probe counts. It is 69. He is not producing any more probes. There go the Temple archives somewhere.
All of his bases are actually perfectly saturated though, except for his natural, which has 1 probe too many. And now he's just queued up a lot of them actually at his main base. Rather confusing choice. But all of these Lings are going to have an impossible time breaking into his wall without the infestor support.
No, I think that is pretty much unbreakable. Time is ticking for Hordeon right now. He still has time to break these walls with some kind of infested Terran bust, using the fungals as well and Lings for reinforcement to just stream them in, because there are no Colossi, no AoE out in the field, and very few Zealots, only 3 Zealots out. The majority of Daveathor's force is consisting of Stalkers, so he is going to have a very hard time dealing with mass Ling.
Except
until
for the
that
fact
AoE
that he has
goes out.
the 4 sentries.
Yeah, he has, but those force fields will run out eventually, and those sentries also can get fungled or shut down by infested Terrans. I mean, all Hordeon needs to do is open up a huge door to stream links in. There is nothing to deal with links right now for Daveathor until that storm finishes.
Absolutely. And one of the fundamental points that I would like to point out is the fact that Daveathor is ahead on upgrades. His +2 weapons is going to finish, and then he's just going to power straight into +3, whilst his armor is actually ahead of his opponents. And he does see the greatest fire going down.
Nice scout there. That observer might eventually and will eventually go down. There is an overseer in range. There it goes. Spines being thrown down. Hordeon does not want that spire to be sniped eventually. Army supply quite even. Worker supply quite even as well. Daveathor putting himself up to... Oh, but he cannot take it for the base. Up to 80 drones. Probes, sorry. Hordeon being annoying in turn.
Absolutely. One of the pivotal points of any engagement that goes down will be the fact that High Templar exist. None of them currently spawn, but they need to be used to snipe as many infestors as possible to electrocute those lings. So that's one of the main pivot points, but Daveathor hasn't actually got any on the field yet.
No, he hasn't. I think he's going to go straight into Archons. Having a couple of High Templars with Storm would be way more beneficial to him, because look at the mobility of these links. These links will deny for a very long time both of these side expansions for Daveathor. He has a slower army, and even Burrow finished meanwhile for the Zerg, so he is burrowing links there. Do we have any additional observers out on the field? No! So Dave will have to produce some of them, and we do have first infestors out on the... first broodlords are out on the way already.
A lot of High Templar warped in at the third base, though. A lot of gateways going down. And this is going to come down to one of the pivotal engagements right now. A lot of Zerglings coming. It's all going to be down to the force fields, but Hordeon decides to pull back, get his broodlord reinforcements closer, and Daveathor just sets up his concave in preparation.
He's trying to split his army as best he can to avoid any fungals. The broodlords are pushing this back right now. There is nearly nothing that hits... Well, there are the stalkers, you know, but they cannot blink under the broodlords as long as the infestors are there. Not very high amount of links, but still enough. And here we go. Storms going off right now. And the infestors...
down one broodlord. The second broodlord is focused down very quickly as well. And the broodlords are getting cut through. But there's so many units just damaging the Protoss army that he barely has any stalkers left. More coming around from the side, but the stalkers are just getting whittled down incredibly quickly, and the mothership has just died. And right now, the stalkers are just coming in, and it's not enough to hold off this broodlord infestor force. 3 broodlords left, a lot of infestors. Despite being on low energy, they can take down this small force that Daveathor has. But he's got such a large bank and so many gateways ready to be turned over that he can get more stalkers if he starts to switch the gateways over. And hopefully he will notice soon.
Well, the only thing he can really warp in, on the other hand, are zealots. Nothing else. He's lacking the gas to warp in anything else. He's not going to have any anti-air right now. Now, granted, zealots are not going to be the worst of choices because he needs something to take care of those links. More broodlords being morphed right now, and without that mothership, that was actually a huge loss for Dave, because it almost had enough energy for a vortex. If that vortex went down on at least half of that army, and if he managed to pull off an Archon turret or of some sort followed up by some storms, then that might have been a better engagement for him. Warpism harass, meanwhile, at the fourth of the Zerg getting cleaned up immediately. Skull crawlers and spine crawlers being built there. Only 3 drones killed.
The mothership only just starting again now, and that's going to be very, very far away before it arrives. The broodlords are going to start pushing forward. Daveathor has got his 4th base denied, and Hordeon has complete map control. Daveathor is pushed back against the wall that he made earlier, and now is starting to feel the stress. Infested Terran eggs coming down to distract the fire, and Lings come in to do a lot of damage.
Well, those Lings do have adrenal glands. They do have pretty good upgrades. They are on +2 attack, +3 cover base, so killing them will not be an easy task. And right now, Daveathor's army not in the best of positions. Those Stalkers cannot even fire upon anything. Zealots going to work on those links. Links evaporating very, very quickly, but there are infested Terrans and still a lot of Broodlords remaining